in order to make that choice. The problem is when you are indoctrinated into planet Earth, you forget that you have a choice. There's always choices. There are always many potentials before you in every single moment. And this is also why I am now guiding many who are more conscious, who are more aware, who are more awake from the old sense of I guess the new age, where you would go and see a reader, you would get psychic readings, you would go see psychics, do that kind of a thing. Fortune telling, it's very old energy, because back then, yes, the energy was quite dense and the chances of you jumping paths were a lot slimmer. But as your consciousness expands, so do the potentials that lay out before you. In this new energy that is coming to Earth, in this new energy that is integrating into your very beings, you can change things in the blink of an eye. 1 second it may be so, and another second it may be not so. I'm really encouraging you all now just to forget about the past, forget about the future, and focus in this present moment, in this now, to understand that you are pure existence. To understand that time in itself is an illusion. And that the old energetic ways of perceiving where you are going no longer really, I guess, are relevant anymore. They're not relevant. Because as a sovereign being, you can change your potentials and you can change your future at any given moment. And an aware being will have the intuition to know where they're being, where they are leading themselves. They will just know, and everyone who sits here just knows. Many of you have that inner guidance, but there are times when you downplay it, and that's when the questioning comes back in. Trust yourselves, because you'll just know. And when you are standing at a crossroads, when those potentials are all laid out before you, you'll intuitively know which way you wish to go. It is all choice. And I really want to bring back this concept that there are no mistakes either. Even if your intuition said, take this potential, and you doubted and you went down another road, that is perfect. It is all about the experience. You're not meant to be anywhere but where you want to be. So understand and really bring your own power back to yourselves in understanding that you have a choice always. So really now, when you are feeling this upheaval of emotions, when you are feeling unsettled, when you are feeling ungrounded, understand that this is just another layer of your costume, of your perception of reality being shaken up. And the only course of action is to stay present and to breathe. Just take a conscious breath. Take several conscious breaths. Bring yourself back to the I am. And understand that turmoil, that upheaval is all just another part of the whole experience. And that, like all things, it will pass. Do not fight it. Flow with it. And know that if you are feeling any array of negative emotion, if you are experiencing any kind of upheaval in your life, you're not doing it wrong. There is a grand sense that, particularly in New Age circles, oh, what did you do to attract that into your life? Or you must have bad karma, or you're just not thinking the right thoughts. It's ridiculous. You're never going to protect yourself from supposed bad things from happening in life. It is just what it is. This is what the planet is about. You know, this is what you came here to experience. So no more of this karma, no more of this I must say more affirmations, my thoughts aren't clean enough. Your thoughts don't have any power. They only have power if you believe them, but you can step back from them anytime you choose. A true master understands that it is as it is and it all just happens. But they can stand in their own stillness and let it happen without judgment, without any negative thoughts towards their negative thoughts. You humans get so caught up in, oh no, I'm feeling angry, oh no, I'm feeling sad, oh, and then you get yourself even more caught up in the fact that you're feeling angry or sad and I shouldn't feel this way. Take a step back. Breathe. It's all sacred. Know that. It's time to stop overthinking these things. And it's time to stop labeling these things. No more good or bad, just is. When you do that, you really free up the energy. You stop taking the game so seriously. And you create space. And that is why I say, take the conscious breath. Because it realigns you with that which is, and not the man-made structures that say you should or shouldn't feel a certain way, or that you should act in accordance with such and such law or rule book or way of thinking or behaving in society. Take the conscious breath, and you will come back to your true nature. Are there any questions?
Yeah. So, like you say, our thoughts have no power. Are we still able then? But now you're saying we're also coming to a time where we can create what we choose really easily. Is that correct?
Yes.
So is it?
It's not a matter of, I guess it's common. There's a common perception at the moment that if you think about something enough, it will materialize. But this is a very old and very clunky and very inefficient way of trying to bring about that which you want.
Is it more about feeling to create what we want? Feeling what we want? Or
yeah, it's about coming back to that stillness. Coming back to that inner space. Meditating on the I am. Understanding your God nature. Because often the things that you think you desire and what your soul actually desires are in conflict. Often your mind will tell you you desire all sorts of things when really they are manifestations of a deeper need, or they're manifestations of being caught in the collective web. So it is really important to constantly check back in with your stillness, with your I am, because then you can create space around the desire. Is this just a mind pattern? Am I trying to fill a certain need? Because if you are truly in alignment with your being, you'll understand that all your needs are met, that you have everything you need. But to be completely in that space allows the spontaneous creation. It allows for that spontaneous flow of energy into those areas which could bring you joy, or could bring you that experience that on a soul level you wish to feel and experience and create. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So step back from the mind. It does not serve you. Often, people will get so caught up in manifesting through their affirmations and their thoughts and all of those sorts of conditionings. They get lost in it. They get completely lost. And then they don't know why they're creating what or what's going on. It's just a matter of taking the breath step back. Because it will just spontaneously manifest once you're in the flow of who you are. Are there any other questions?
I've got a personal one.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a strong association with Vedic astrology and sacred geometry.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be able to give me a bit of an understanding in regards to how that's going to come into my life path, or how I'm going to use it?
That is really, in a sense, up to you, because this is all ancient wisdom you already have within you. This is something that you've experienced over the course of many lifetimes. You were, I guess I could say, fundamental in assisting in even bringing Vedic astrology to Earth. So this I guess is kind of like your soul's baby. This is your creation. This is your beautiful it's a creation. And it's up to you how you want to experience it and how you want to share that creation with others. But I really ask you not to go seeking outside of yourself. Of course, you can read books if you wish. It may jog old memories, but really, I want you to be bringing that through from your own inner knowing, from your own inner wisdom, because it is something that you have studied for lifetimes. And if you really let yourself sit down, you could channel that message through. You could channel all of that information and share it with others. And that is something that you could share in, I guess you could take advantage of this time in which you live and take advantage of the technology that is available to you and share it that way. It is really all up to you, but what I really want you to do is to unlock that wisdom that's within you, because you already have it. You already know it. You helped create it. And then through that you can share it.
That's through channeling.
Sit down, connect in with your I am, connect in with your higher self, and just start writing and it will come. It may take a little bit to get it flowing, but once it does, the information will just start to pour from you. Are there any other questions?
Yeah.
I've got one about children with autism, or so-called autism, another label. Have you got any suggestions on how we can best treat them, particularly children who won't necessarily stick with a specific diet to help them to lose some of those symptoms? Obviously, a lot of these children are suffering. They can't focus. They're doing badly at school. A lot of them are committing suicide. We've got all sorts of problems there. Are these children, I mean, the souls that come down and take on those types of bodies, are they specific types of souls that choose to? Are these the so-called star children, another label? Or is it a bit of a mixture? Is it,
They're basically souls who have decided to come in and challenge the way in which humans function in society. So it's really important to understand that technically there's nothing wrong with them. It's the system in which they were brought into which is causing the actual problem. So these are children who do have I guess you could say, a different kind of vibration, but they specifically came in order to shake up the way humans view reality and how things should or must be done. Because they operate on a completely different vibration depending on where they lie on that spectrum. So some can eventually integrate into society, others have great trouble with this. But the important thing is to allow them to discover their own way of being, to discover their own way of associating with this world in which says to them that you shouldn't be that way. It's a very rigid world that they've been born into. So these sorts of beings need a lot of space around them. They need freedom to make their own choices in many ways. So in this way, you will see that they begin to blossom. The problem is that society says, no, don't do that. No, don't act like this. You should feel things in this certain way. And then we come back to that questioning, and then there's that conflict, and they are very sensitive beings in terms of energy. They're all naturally very empathic. So it's also very important to teach them about their sensitivities to energy. It's very important to teach them about their empathic abilities, because they're like sponges, they take on. So even someone who may not specifically say to them, no, you shouldn't be that way, they can feel that they're thinking that, if that makes sense. So they're basically born into this kind of doubt, because everything around them is saying you can't be the way you are. So through bringing through acceptance, through bringing through that unconditional love, and through bringing through that space in which they can be themselves, you'll see that they blossom. It is really important. So the best thing you can do, particularly in regards to helping them cope with society, because I do not want to say integrate, because why should they have to integrate into a society which in many levels is not serving even those who have integrated? But say, this is how the majority act, this is how the majority feel, and this is how the majority feel that you should be living your life. But you have freedom. You were born a free being. This world is a playground. So do not take on board the energies, do not take on board the criticisms of this society, this very rigid society. And allow yourself to explore yourself. Allow yourself to come into your being and move into those areas which really speak to you. And these areas may not make sense to your normal, as people would call them, human being. But to them, they are having a grand, beautiful experience of this realm. So it's all about creating space, and it's all about teaching them that they are loved unconditionally and to not take on the judgments of others. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And your question?
That kind of pretty much answered it, I think.
Are there any other questions?
Just one quick question. If they're in that situation and they can't get that space, then what's the best option for people who are feeling that way? What to center themselves?
It comes back to that consciousness, taking that deep breath.
Yeah.
You know, and to understand that there is always a choice. The choice may seem a little bit out there, the choice may seem difficult, but know that you can always create your own space within yourself in which you can retreat. And to know that within your own sacredness, you can bring about those feelings of peace. But it's all about full acceptance of where you are. So if you are in a chaotic environment, you're in an environment that is not conducive to your own being, instead of fighting against it, instead of getting into that space where, well, you should be acting a certain way, because who's to say who should be acting any certain way? It's about that acceptance. You are as you are, I am as I am. And that's okay. And this can take practice, because it's easy to get pulled into that undertow, particularly when you are empathic and when you are sensitive to energy. But if you can keep bringing that awareness back and keep bringing you back to that still centered place, then eventually it becomes as natural as breathing. So understand that many of you create your own turmoil by saying, well, everyone should be as I am. Why aren't you acting in this certain way? I want you to be peaceful so I can be peaceful. Do you see the futility in that? Allow people to be who they are. Allow them to be as they are. Allow yourself to be as you are. It's that releasing of judgment. And once you're in that space, you can actually laugh. There's a freedom around it. And you can carry that sacred stillness wherever you go, because that is you. That is the I am. This is pure existence. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So as with that, I will leave you. Do understand that you're still going through this integration process. Don't fight any of the emotions that come up. Do not fight any of those that confront you. And when I say fight, I mean, get into that poor me cycle of why am I in this situation? How horrible is this person? Accept them as they are. And you can use your voice with compassion. You can use your voice from the I am to navigate your way through. And to really come to terms with everything that is going on. This is going to be a grand juggling act, as I said previously. Learning to function in a society which no longer really holds your values or really holds the way in which you are as a being. It'll become easier in time as you stop taking it all so seriously. Learn to laugh, and laugh at yourselves as well. Create space. Allow that. Allowing. It will flow a lot easier for all of you. I am Saint Germain in service. Thank you.